Hey guys, just got the bearing off. Had to use the press. So I just set these in right where the bearing would sit on there. And then press down with this on top of here. And it popped off. And then just got the other part off. The garage is a mess right now. But just got this off. It was seized up in that bearing. Put it in the vise and tapped from the other side with a punch. This one would, the chisel wouldn't work. Had to use the punch. Had it flipped over like this, and it just got. Should have brought my tripod. Anyhow, so came in like this and punched it down through on both sides. Just worked back and forth, and then finally it popped through. But gonna set this in the press now. Pop this bearing out, and then try to get that one out also. I'm hoping when I press this out, it'll give me room to press this one out, but not looking so hot. Might have to cut that one apart. But man, is this thing grimy. Alright, so I found a bolt that fit just on the inside of that bearing. That way I got something to push down on. I couldn't find the metal slugs that we usually use. We have just like slugs about that long, about that big around, that would fit perfect in there. But this bolt will do just fine. I already got it coming out, so. And there it is. The old bearing. She was all seized up. Alrighty, so we finally got this thing all torn apart. Got all the old stuff out of it. Got the seal, got the bearing. Got the bearing from the other side. How I got this one out was I sat it in the vise over here. This was opened up where it was just touching here and here. And then I came through the other side with this chisel and tapped this bearing first out. Just worked back and forth until it started coming out. I didn't use any crazy amount of force, just medium taps, and it started moving. And then I punched out the seal here. So the seal sits in like that, and then this bearing sits in behind it. But yep, now we can take this home, start cleaning it up. I mean, this thing is just grimy as can be. Whoever had it never checked the bottom end or the rear end to make sure there was still fluid in it, and they must have been running the sucker through the mud. But it's okay. It worked out for me because I got a good deal for it, and it'll be a reliable bike for my wife once I get it all finished up and that. But she's been waiting, and it is now February, so I need to get my butt into gear for her. Alrighty, so we got all the bearings out of the differential. Now we got to clean this up, clean this all up, clean these up, and then we can put in our new bearings here and seals. This was the little bearing here that was in this spot right here. It was right in there. I don't know how you're supposed to take it out, but I ended up having to use my die grinder, and I ground down the inside of the bearing until it got really thin, and then I just went in with a chisel and smacked it real lightly, and it broke apart. But yep, it's all ready to get cleaned up, and then put the bearings and that all back in, and that way we can put it baback onto the Ltz250R. Hey guys, now that I got you on my tripod, I'm gonna clean these up. I got some PB Blaster. I've been just spraying them down with. Got a wire brush that I'm in here just trying to scrub up as much as I can, taking most of the heavy stuff off of this stuff. That way when I put this stuff in the ultrasonic cleaner, it doesn't totally trash the inside, and then I have to clean that out, which I still got purple power in there. I'm going to run a couple carburetors through it, because it's still really clean, and then I'm going to run this through it, and then I'll flush that out and try some of the stuff that you guys suggested. But yep, I'm going to go ahead and start taking off the heavy stuff and getting these things ready to throw in the ultrasonic cleaner. Alright, now that we got these things cleaned up, better than what they were, I'm going to let the ultrasonic cleaner get warmed up. That way I can drop the 2 carburetors in there, because like I said, the fluid in there is still really clean. And then once those are done, I'll throw these in. I'm going to set this one in there upside down. That way when that ultrasonic cleaner is doing its job, hopefully it pulls all this dirt out of these pockets and just lets it come out the bottom, and hopefully it cleans up all this surface here. I feel like it will, because this surface was exactly the same as this one, and it cleaned this up pretty well. This one I had already thrown in there once, but it needs to go back in to get even cleaner also. And these 2 parts here, the pinion and that, they probably don't need to go in there, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw them in there. That way these 2 go through the same process as these 2 parts, and then after this is all cleaned up, we'll start dropping our bearings in and our seals and getting this rear end put back together. Alrighty, so these are all cleaned up. There's just some stainage right in these spots here, but I've scraped and sanded with some 600 grit sandpaper, and that's all the more cleaner they want to get. I'm sure if you vapor honed them or whatever, they would get cleaner, but that's as far as I'm going to go with them. I also took 600 grit sandpaper and cleaned up the spots where the bearings will be sitting, and this one too. And then these ones here I'm going to throw in the freezer along with this part here, because this bearing has to go over top of this. So I'm going to throw all this stuff in the freezer, let it sit in there for, I don't know, half hour or so, and that should be long enough to get them to go into where they need to go, and try to get this rear end put back together. The reason why we're going to put them in the freezer is that way these can shrink, and then I want to add heat. So this bearing here will go right here. So this will shrink due to being cold, and I want to add heat right here. That way that bearing can slide in. I use the same method when I'm putting crank bearings into crankcases, and it works just fine. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and throw these in the freezer and that. And while these are getting cold, I'm going to, there's a couple seals I can go ahead and put in that are sandwiched between the bearing and the part itself. So like this one here, you got a bearing that sits up here, a seal sits here, and then you got this part of the part itself that separates the other bearing that sits on this side. So you have to put that seal in before you put the bearing in. Alright, so now we got our seal put in that we needed to put in. And by the way too, I don't know if you guys can see right there, but there's marine grease in there. These seals come with that already in there. And I'm not putting gear oil back in the differential. The main reason is if a seal fails, that gear oil can run right out. I'm going to put marine grease in. I just got some stuff from Walmart in the SuperTech brand. Marine grease. It's supposed to resist water. It's not supposed to mix with it. And 2, if a seal fails, this stuff's not just going to run out like that gear oil will. So I'm going to put this in there. We'll see what happens. I feel like it's going to run. It's going to work just fine. and this stuff's going to be better than the gear oil, because these rear ends, these rear differentials are known for blowing out because they get water in there, you get mud in there, and hopefully this can prevent that happening and keeps good lubrication in that. So that's what I'm going to put in there. We're going to heat it up. Usually I have a metal slug with a bolt welded to it that I heat up and then I sit on, but I can't find them anywhere. I don't know what I did with them. I have all different sizes. I don't know if they're in my other building or not, but I'm just going to take the torch and run the outside. I'm going to go run in, grab the bearing, come out, try to get the bearing and drop in there. This rubber mallet's perfect size, so I'll set this on top of the bearing and smack on the other side. That way we're not putting metal to metal. We'll have a rubber surface. Alright, we got it. Ooh, that's still pretty warm. But we'll add our grease in here. The whole thing's hot. Well, if that's still hot, might as well get the bearing and drop that one. Like that. Perfect. That one we didn't even have to touch. Now we'll let that cool. We'll let that cool. This seal goes in just like that on this end here. That will work out good. Alright, same thing, we'll heat this one up. That little guy was a pain in the butt getting out. So I don't know why I thought it was going to go in any easier, but all the bearings are in. We'll let these all cool down, and then we'll pack them all with grease, and we'll finish assembling this. Alright, so the reason why I had issues getting this bearing down onto this pinion is because I didn't get the center of this bearing hot enough. So as soon as it got on here and kind of got stuck, this extremely cold pinion just turned this from warm to cold, and then it shrunk on there. So what I had to do is I had to take a bigger socket that would fit over everything else, but would sit on the center of the bearing. You don't want to be hitting on the outside. And then I tapped it down until it seated itself. Now we have all the bearings on. And we're gonna pack all and now we're gonna pack all the bearings with grease and that, get them ready, get this in there. Ow, that's still really hot. Whew. Get that put in, and then just get this rear end put together. As you can see, it was sitting outside, but it wasn't outside. It was underneath my lean-to, and the lean-to is just dirt floor. I got it back in here. Yeah, the shed's a mess. It's winter time. Spring cleaning will be coming around, so that's when I'll clean it up. But a little dirty. Won't take much to clean up. Some Windex. I got a new front bumper, like I said. That one's pretty beat up. And then got a new seat cover. This one's not horrible, but it does have rips and tears in it. So I'm going to change that one out. And then I'm going to take some of these plastics inside to put the wrap on it. Might try to get them all off. I know I can get both side panels, this one off, and the rear off pretty easily. The front might not be too bad. Just got to take the reverse switch out, a couple bolts. So I might get them all inside. But yeah, and you got some Nerf bars that'll come out. They're just little guys. And then got the Ozark rear end on it still. Like I said, the Ozark shocks mount on the axle itself, and the Ltz250 mounts on the swing arm. But yeah, we'll get this all swapped out and get this thing ready to rock and roll. Alrighty, so I got all our plastics off. Gonna start cleaning them up, get them ready for putting the wrap on. I've never done a wrap, so we will see what happens. But I think these will clean up pretty good. These three pieces here are going to get full wrap done to them, and then these two pieces, they'll get right here on both sides. And then if I have enough, I'm going to do this side or top of the light also, and then on the rear I'm going to follow this on both sides. So we will see what happens. Like I said, I've never done wrap before, so it's gonna be my first time. I know you gotta have a heat gun, which I have, and I got some old hotel keys, key cards I'm gonna use as my scrapers. So we will see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and clean these up, and then I won't film that because everyone knows how to clean plastics. I mean, I got some glass cleaners I'm gonna use, and then I want to make sure, but I think you need to use some type of like brake cleaner or so on the plastics beforehand to get any residue off. That way the wrap can stick to it. Alright, now we're ready. I got it all prepped up, ready to go. Got my heat gun right here. This is my first attempt on vinyl wrapping, and this is what she wanted. So that's what she's gonna get. We will try. I will try and see if I can get it to stick in that. I've had this for a little while now, so hopefully it's still good. But first attempt, we'll see what happens. Alright guys, so I decided not to show you all the wrapping or the seat cover and that, and all I'm going to show you in this video now is putting the rear end in. I want to do a reveal video for this quad, and so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you, I'm going to take this out there, install it on the quad, show you what we got to do, and that'll be it for this video, and then we'll have a reveal. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this rear end out, put it in the quad. Alright, to start this process we need to take the tires off, that way we can get to these bolts that hold the axle in place. I put 2 jack stands underneath the frame right there, which makes it perfect. So that's what we'll do. We'll take the tires off and then unbolt the rear axle here from the frame, and then we'll slide the one that we just rebuilt back in, and then this will be finished. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you guys like this video, please smash that like button down below. If you didn't like it, I guess hit that dislike button. That'll let me know what you guys want to see and what you don't want to see. If you have any questions about anything about this quad, please leave them down below. I'll answer them as best as I can. Like I said, next video of this quad, you'll see it'll be finished. I think it's going to turn out pretty nice. Like I said, it's not anything special. It's just a Ltz250, but it's a quad for my wife so she can hop on and ride around, and hopefully it's a reliable quad. And the things that will be done to it is what she wanted, so hopefully it can be a reliable quad for her and she can enjoy it for years to come. But thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.